good afternoon, good morning, depending where you're sitting, right? I'm Dario, the chairman of Next Pharma Summit, and really glad to welcome you for this incredible, interesting webinar today, which is Salesforce Genie for Health and Pharma. Today we have 4 extraordinary, respectful guests. So let's start from left to the right. Please meet everyone, Joaquín Pais, the CEO from ShowerThinking. Joaquín, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Honored to be here, Dario.
Thanks a lot. Alfonso López Rueda, the Global Omnichannel Operations Lead and Director from Grunenthal. Alfonso, everything okay on your side?
Yeah, thank you, Dario, for the invitation.
I see a nice fender in your background, so quite good.
After the session, I will have another one.
Okay, fantastic. We have Saman, Sadr, the Executive Advisor from ShowerThinking as well. Saman, everything fine on your side?
Everything great. Thank you, Dario. Everybody, welcome to our webinar today. Very pleased to have everybody.
And last but not least, Christian Bennewitz from Salesforce.com. Again, Christian, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. I hope you're well too, and thanks for having me today.
Fantastic. So I will pass the stage now to Saman, who prepared some very interesting insights. So Saman, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Dario. I also would like again to thank everybody for joining and welcome our audience around the world. For those of you that you're new to ShowerThinking webinars in partnership with Next Pharma, I'll just give a very brief intro to ShowerThinking. ShowerThinking is a hybrid marketing and technology firm that is specializing in providing multi-cloud services. We provide end-to-end services, and generally we service multinational big pharma companies around the world. We obviously specialize in pharma aspects of marketing and technology. We have been awarded for, multiple awards, and we are recognized as the top 10 solution providers in Europe by Salesforce and by CRO applications. As you can imagine, information security is of paramount importance, and obviously in healthcare and pharma, it is even more important than any other aspects of our lives. So ShowerThinking is ISO 27001 certified on that, and we have pioneered a lot of educational ecosystem, particularly the first university program on CRM and marketing on this. We launch more than 800 campaigns per year. These are very complex omni-channel marketing journeys across the globe. We have presence in practically all continents and in 40 countries. And as years of experience accumulates over the past decade and a half that we've been providing these services, also the number of official and formal certificates in important platforms actually are increasing. We have more than 70 official certificates in Salesforce, and also we have been adding other certificates from other platforms, including Viva and other CDPs to our portfolio as well. So with that brief introduction, I'm gonna pass the ball to Christian, who is going to talk about actually the Genie on this. Christian, please take it over.
Yeah, sure. Let me just make this bigger. Can everybody see? Yeah. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about Marketing Cloud Genie from Salesforce and also our customer data platform. Today, you will see that the two are linked. So to just give you a bit of background, as the #1 CRM system in the world, we are constantly thriving for innovation and trying to find ways how to make the data needs and also the marketing and other needs of our clients better or cover them better. And one big aspect is what is widely used as the single customer view or unified views of data. And having all data in one place. There's always talks about use cases where data silos need to be combined in order to have better coverage of certain use cases. And it's not only marketing use cases, it can stretch across many areas where having one view of the customer and having one understanding of the customer is beneficial. And on the next slide here, I'm going to go into a bit more detail what that entails. So in the middle of the slide, you see that one view of the customer that we have identified at Salesforce as so important. It really is, if you look at engagement with the customer, if you look at personalization, if you look even at measurement and attribution, to have all the data elements combined is extremely important. And with our latest Dreamforce announcement this year, we have made that customer data platform even better because we have added functionalities that make this combination of data elements real time. And that should have many other advantages in many other use cases. But let me explain a little bit more what we mean by that data unification or consolidation, and what it can mean, especially from a marketing perspective, as I'm also representing the marketing cloud here at Salesforce. So if you look at the left side, you can see that we have enhanced our possibilities to include any data source that you can pretty much think of in any format into our platform in order to create that unified profile that is so important for so many other things, and build an identity resolution to create that unified profile. So it really doesn't matter where the data comes from. It can either be a real-time stream, it can be a ETL, an upload basically. But important is that whether it's transactional data, whether it's brought in additional data elements, anything really can be thought of as for the data ingestion part of our product. And that gives us the opportunity to then create these customer profiles in real time. And if new information enters the system, it is really brought into the algorithms or into the execution also in real time. And we see the execution options on the right-hand side here on this slide. And those can also take all forms and shapes. And we will learn a bit more about this, how Grunenthal are doing this later on. But I want to just generically also mention a few examples here. So whether it's a personalized web presence, whether it's a specific message via email or WhatsApp or other channels, whether it's advertising that is being broadcast at the right time to the right consumer or to the right addressee, that is all then possible by using the combined intelligence that has been built and using it in real time. There will be examples in the presentation later on, but I want to give a bit of an overview what in general it means to build a unified profile. And let me just say one more word with respect of Genie, and for those who are technically interested, we have brought this functionality closer to the Salesforce platform that so many of you probably know. It's not a separate sitting tool anymore. It is integrated into our what we call high-performance platform and Salesforce platform to be able to have a seamless communication with the main data set and all the other data sets that can be important for a company, for a marketer, or for someone who will provide service to a large group of customers. So yeah, I hope that gave a little bit of an overview what the importance of the unified customer profile is and how we achieve it through our efforts at Salesforce. And you can be sure that we will develop all of this further in the years to come. Thank you very much. And with that, I hand over to the next presenter.
Thank you very much, Christian. So, Alfonso, I think you're taking over, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, thank you. Let me share the screen. This one. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes.
we can.
Okay. So thank you for the invitation. And I'm Alfonso López, and I'm currently at Grunenthal Global Omnichannel Operation Lead. I'm leading the global implementation of Salesforce Marketing Cloud, Interaction Studio, and now the CDP, that I'm a platform owner. Having some background, in Grunenthal we have been focusing a lot in the Omnichannel. So actually, before the pandemic began, we started the setup of Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and the pandemic was like a booster for us, because increased a lot the adoption of this tool, and we started working on to be a more omnichannel strategy and more omnichannel marketing. Well, it has been fantastic, these last 2 years, because we near double the share of voice using these new channels and this new way of work. Actually, in the last year, only this year, we have more than 180 campaigns, and still we are growing every month. And just some figure, is we have sent only this year more than 1.5 million of emails. That's fantastic, for us, because we have a lot of new interaction and more quality interactions, because we are using this approach more omnichannel, and it's fantastic the adoption that the countries that we are giving support, they are doing new campaigns every month, and better campaigns. And when we are talking about the campaigns, what is a campaign for us? Well, a campaign for us is like a journey. Here in the slide you can see this piece of journey. This is a complex one, but what we are doing with this journey. So first, we need to think about the platforms that are behind. So we have an integration of Salesforce Marketing Cloud and Interaction Studio with other platforms that we have in the company, like Viva, Psycho for the websites, and GoToWebinars, and other different platforms. This way, a journey, an omnichannel journey, can interact in these channels, and we have access to what is happening on these channels at the same time, because we need also to trigger actions based on what is happening. To do that, how we are doing that at Grunenthal? So we have a very strong governance around that. I deal with 24 countries, more or less, and we give the opportunity to develop this kind of journeys. We have categorized into different templates the journeys or the campaigns. We have some hybrid campaigns. These are complex or simple, but the thing is that we usually in these hybrid campaigns we interact with the face-to-face, with the reps visits, or not only the visits, the other channels that the reps are using, for example, approve emails, e-detailer, etc., etc. We have other model of campaign that we call Salesforce Marketing Cloud, because it's more, let's say, digital. I don't like to use this word, but are more digital channels, without interact with the face-to-face. Let's say emails, webinars, website, etc. This is the offer. Here we can do more simple campaigns or more complex ones. In the last year, we have improved a lot also Salesforce Marketing Cloud in the way that we are using it. We have added a new layer that we call the campaign data model. This campaign data model allows us to have like stages in the journeys. This way we can manage very well, and we can see what is all the interactions that are happening, what are relevant and what are not relevant. Also we can add something very interesting, that is scoring. We apply, all this year we have been applying a customer engagement scoring. So we can score the different activities or actions that happens in any journey. And of course, we are implementing some capabilities of next best actions in the journeys. So we can trigger or we can based on some criteria to send tasks. As you can see in this slide, send a task to the rep in case that is high engagement or low engagement. That's a basic example. Finally, all this campaign data model facilitate a lot that we push this information into data lake and reporting tools like we are using now Domo or other like Tableau, etc. Sorry. But this is not my first implementation of Marketing Cloud. It's my first one on the CDP, no? But my learnings about using Marketing Cloud and developing campaigns, with Marketing Cloud. We have challenges. So we have challenges, and when we start thinking about how we are building the audiences that we are injecting in these campaigns, is where, for me, comes the challenge. No, in some cases we need to deal with data silos, with information and files that are not updated. No, just imagine I receive now an audience for a campaign, and at the moment that I'm receiving it, it's not updated. Why? Because this is not real time. So for tomorrow, this data has changed probably. And this is like, recently I hear about a study about the companies can have more than 900 platforms and data in different places. So finally, I was imagining that, just imagine that they have my profile, and that my profile is in more than 900 versions in the company. That's crazy. So we have a lack of an individual profile. We don't have the real 360 view of what is happening with the customer, the HCP that they have and the data that is around in multiple platforms. And when we talk about hyper-personalization and personalization, that's amazing. That's what all of us want to do. But without easy access to the data, it's super impossible to do it in a correct way. And then we can start discussing about platform integration. That's something that we have. But another thing is the data integration. And when we think about data integration, always comes our mind about we have the data lake, no? But for me, the data lake is something that doesn't give me the marketing needs, the needs that I have to develop campaigns. Data lake has another potential, but for the marketing needs, for develop campaigns and for develop these buildings, these audiences, we need a tool. We need a tool probably like the CDP. And I will stop about talking about challenges. I want that you think about these challenges, that probably you have, or could be you're lucky and you don't have any, But just thinking an example, I have a call or with a Italy product manager, okay? He wants to create an audience of HCPs with medium potential for a product, and he wants to select the HCPs that didn't receive any face-to-face visit in the last month, and at least attending one webinar this year. Of course, he wants to invite these HCPs to a webinar, to the next webinar. And he wants to send this audience to a personalized journey, and also he wants to personalize some banners with a specific call to actions to the webinar in the website that only these HCPs are visiting, only for these HCPs that are visiting the website. Then my question is, are you able to create this automatically in 5 minutes? Are you able to create this in an easy way in 5 minutes, only in 5 minutes, 10 minutes? And are you able to activate this into a Salesforce Marketing Cloud or Interaction Studio to develop this personalization? So here is where we can start talking about the CDP. Here is where with the CDP we can solve this challenges, no? And I was telling today at LinkedIn that I'm in love of the CDP. I was waiting for a tool like that, you know. Just this slide to see the facility, you know, when we talk about drag and drop, it's very easy to use, etc. This is an example, no? A very easy example about how can we build a specific audience for Spain, for example, with the HCPs that I have opt-in, I have the consent, that they want to receive a newsletter, for example, that they have at least one interaction of the channel face-to-face last 30 days, and Einstein is scoring like they probably are going to open. So that's a good. And also we can access the Viva product metrics to check the potential of this HCP. We can access all the information that we have of this HCP. We have on the left access to everything, Viva objects, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, Einstein, visit to the website, everything is available, only drag and drop. That's fantastic. And that's because we are currently testing and rolling out the CDP, the Customer Data Platform. High level, because Joaquín is going to go in more detail about the implementation and more technical aspects about that. But for me, in my platform ecosystem, I was waiting for something in the center of this. No? The CDP fits completely. In the CDP, we have a data model where we have all the data streams, all the data source connected to the CDP. And we have a bidirectional communication with Viva, with Salesforce Marketing Cloud and Interaction Studio, and we can do it with the Data Lake and other platforms. Then the magic is in the CDP is that we have only one profile of the customer. And when we think of, we started with the pilot of the CDP, we have 4 lines of work, 4 cases. First one was unify profiles. Then we think about improvement of segments and audiences, the synchronization with Viva, and activations in Salesforce Marketing Cloud and other platforms. Let's go for unify profiles. When we think about unify profiles, just think about the different data streams that we have. No, we have in Viva different identifications. No, like the one key, like the account ID. In Salesforce Marketing Cloud, we have the subscriber ID, etc., etc., etc. So the magic of the CDP is that can match everything into only one profile. This is going to help with the hyper-personalization. Having this unique profile is the only way that I see to have this personalization, access to the data. And that's the other line of work, no? Improvements of segments and audiences. This is something super important, and is the key of the CDP, no? Is the possibility to really have data-driven strategies. But when we think about that, we need to think that we don't need a specific super technical skills people to do it. What we need is that a marketer, a product manager can play with the data. This is what we need, no? Because he's going to search and navigate the data, looking for the best audience for the campaigns. And there is 2 ways to improve here, 2 improvements that we think about, no? One is this one, is to build audiences for the campaigns, where we can personalize a lot because we are segmenting and creating these audiences based on a lot of criteria that we can play with the CDP. But the other is that we give the possibility to a product manager to start looking at the data and create criteria or search, not thinking about the campaign, thinking about how to improve the content strategy or looking for the behavior of the HCPs, and then he can create this kind of segments, new segments. For example, what are the archetypes of these HCPs? No, I can calculate these archetypes, or I can think about having the persona. No, this insight. No, what persona is this HCP? If they like more patient case, or they want to be invited to webinar, etc. So I think every day I'm discovering new ways to use the CDP, and it's super excited in this moment for me. No? Then we need to synchronize this to Viva. Why? Because we want that the rep has, just imagine, I'm visiting one HCP today. I need to see where is this HCP. Is this in other campaigns, in the journeys, in what journeys is included, and also in what stage of these journeys. This is something that we have implemented. And the other thing is that if the product manager is playing with the data and is discovering new audiences or new behaviors, etc., I need that the rep can see if this HCP belongs to any of these new audiences or behaviors, no? Because he needs to know if invite this HCP that I'm visiting to a webinar makes sense or not. And that's only one example. So the objective of this is to grow the customer engagement of the reps. And then finally is the activation. It's to accelerate, no? When we send to a journey these audiences, personalize it. This is something that is very easy with the CDP. We only need to activate these audiences to a specific journeys, and then we can do it the same for Interaction Studio. And the idea was accelerates the time to market. And then finally, my last slide is, well, I always compare last implementations of Marketing Cloud with a Ferrari. You know, I think Salesforce is providing the best-in-class platform, you know, and that's because I compare that with a Ferrari. But now, for me, the CDP is the new Ferrari. Just one moment. And this, when I'm driving this Ferrari and I stop at boxes, I need a strong partner that help me to maintain this Ferrari. And also we need one strong partner to success on our projects. And that's because we have selected ShowerThinking to work as a global partner for Grunenthal. And I'm really happy to take over Joaquín, because it's super interesting, all the technical aspects of the implementation of the CDP. And that's all.
Okay. Okay, good. Can you see my screen? Yes? Okay. Okay, so thank you very much, Alfonso. Such an interesting journey that you are doing at the Grunenthal. So let's start with the technical part of the presentation. Let's get into a point that usually generates a lot of controversy. Surely, many of you have been investing for years in improving the reliability and quality of data in your CRM system. And most of you have surely realized that digital channels are a new source of data related to your customers. It is a challenge to integrate this data into a CRM. But in terms of customer behavior, they are one of the most valuable sources. Brands must integrate more and more digital data with more and more data volume. The volume data related to customer knowledge grows exponentially. This is something that we need to acknowledge as companies begin to work on Omnichannel, as Alfonso said before. And that's why we want to give you a tip that will surely save you a lot of time and effort. CRM, and this is important, is no longer the only customer knowledge center. Platforms such as Marketing Cloud are becoming increasingly important. And this evolution of Salesforce CDP is what is all about. Let's be a little bit more specific on pharma. I have encountered many companies that refuse to run campaigns because there is no IQVIA as one key. If you think about this, you refuse to improve the customer experience because your legacy systems do not allow it. Digital channels are required establishing lead qualification processes, similar to B2B industries. It cannot take 2 weeks to validate a lead. So let's review this new architecture at Grunenthal, and I would say is pretty similar to many other, could be pretty similar to other pharma companies. This is how Salesforce CDP integrates into the architecture of pharmaceutical companies. What data will we inject? Salesforce Marketing Cloud campaigns and audience data. Web interactions data from Interaction Studio, HCP, profile data, consent data, contact data, etc. from Viva, and registrants, logins, activities from Sidecore. The website, in this case, from Grunenthal, in other cases could be WordPress, could be Experience Cloud, but we are working in this project with Sidecore. All these data streams are collected together into Salesforce CDP. Inside Salesforce CDP, one of the most important elements are the unified identities. This is a matching which allows us to determine IDs, info, and engagement data of a unique HCP profile. This is what Alfonso commented he was looking for, to know in one single place all the activities and all the identifiers in all these different platforms from Grunenthal. There is profile data, consent data, engagement data from all the different platforms. This empowers the digital marketing managers to generate advanced audiences with a few clicks. And not only that, Salesforce CDP still maintains the ability to function as a standard data lake. We will comment a little bit about this point later. Being able to natively connect to a BI tool such as Tableau, for example, Power BI or others to extract, process, and represent data. Here we go into more detail inside Grunenthal's project. To integrate non-Salesforce platforms, we use Salesforce Marketing Cloud capabilities. That is, through Salesforce Marketing Cloud integration with Sidecore, webinar platforms, or data lake, we are able to inject data into CDP. On the other hand, another of Grunenthal's challenges it has 2 different Viva environments, one for Latin and another one for Europe. And the beauty of CDP is that it makes it easy to integrate several CRM into the same CDP. Another of Grunenthal's challenges is that they already had a data lake built on Azure. You are probably familiar also with this problem. This creates a lot of debate through the project. Questions arose such as if it's necessary to have a CDP having a data lake. Our recommendation is that CDP and data lake are complementary. And this is something that we can comment a little bit later in the Q&A session, but I think it's interesting. You can see in more detail how we approach the integration of data lake data on CDP using Salesforce Marketing Cloud as a middleware. Well, and this is probably my favorite part of Salesforce CDP. Once you have the data streams connected, it's time to start building the data model in CDP. At ShowerThinking, we are proud to have a hyper-specialized team in pharma, and we have helped Grunenthal build the core of this platform. And an interesting concept of CDP is that the party identification entity. This is a table that collects all the IDs of the individual across all platforms. It's some kind of a master translation table where you have the identifiers for the customer and which are the other identifiers that this customer uses on different platforms. If you look closely, you can see that in this data model, we are including even the smallest detail of Viva, like multi-channel activities, like consent, like product metrics, as Alfonso commented, the CLM, the bricks, and combining it with all the digital activity together, like webinars, the Salesforce Marketing Cloud email, the website interactions. You can start to see the segmentation potential of CDP for pharma with this slide. We have just seen how to create a data model about the individual entity. But what happens if the same individual, the same customer, is present in different platforms with different IDs? Surely this sounds familiar to you. This is where the magic of CDP comes into action through the unified profile. In this slide, you see the example of an existing ID in the Grunenthal platform. The unified profile is an entity in CDP that is built above the data model and the individual entity. The unified profile is not a merge of individuals. It is an unification of individuals. For this is necessary to develop a series of rules that are built into CDP and they are easily configured. Are identified as match rules from one side and reconciliation rules. Going back to the comparison between data lake and CDP, how many marketing teams have the ability to extract data or segments from their company's data lakes? This is something that you can question. Here you can see how with multiple clicks, any marketeer can perform advanced cross-platform segmentation. In this example, just with clicks, we can create a segment of a Canadian general practitioner, highly engaged with a specific product over the last 90 days. This allows you to segment using clicks instead of code. And this is why Alfonso commented that this is a platform very marketing specific, more than for data analysts as is usually a data lake. Let's see another example. I think this is wonderful. The audience are HCPs who received a visit in the last month and saw at least 7 or 8 slides of the CLM presentation. Then a journey is triggered with the goal to have a second visit and increase the adoption level. This is a model that I think that fits very well in many different pharma companies. And another example, in this case, the number of customers that we are identifying in the project. To answer the question, what have we achieved with the identity resolution? Total unified profiles are all the profiles that existed between all the different sources, like Sitecore, the website, Viva, Marketing Cloud, and the webinars. By applying the rules of CDP, we discovered that almost 70,000 profiles correspond to HCP profiles that already existed and have matching values that without CDP, we couldn't have identified. In fact, this leads to a consolidation of digital data and better understanding of behavior of our customers, which I think is amazing. The project has been considered a major achievement for the Omnichannel, the overall Omnichannel project at Grunenthal. We have been able to implement this in just 3 months and even activating audiences in Journey Builder. In my past experience as professional in Health and Pharma, I have the challenge to work with different platforms in the past, similar to CDP, trying to create a common data model. And this was usually a multi-year project. So we are really speaking here about a very powerful platform. And well, finally, a summary of the benefits. Well, there are a few. We have split them into 2 main areas, data and campaign benefits. From the data point of view, you will be able to have in one platform all the information about an HCP, even if the data comes from different sources. This will also help you to reduce duplicate records. That is, the same person who might have registered in different platforms and until now you were not able to identify. On the other hand, we have campaign benefits. CDP offers you the opportunity to build new segments in an easier way, but even using complex logic if needed. You can combine that data from Sitecore, GoToWebinar, or Salesforce Marketing Cloud with the Viva information that you usually are using for segmentation by simply dragging and dropping a few fields on the screen. Infinite audiences can be built this way. And another major benefit is that CDP makes it easier to implement the Grunenthal's project backlog. For this year, and Alfonso will comment a little bit more, we are thinking about creating more advanced calculated insight for the customer. That is really a very interesting topic in pharma, the creation of personas, the improvement of the scoring, customer scoring, the next best action activation, the dynamic audience, and another interesting concept, which are the autopilot campaigns. Well, I hope that you have enjoyed this part. You find it inspiring. I need to go and run a little bit through the technical part, but I think that with these elements, you can have an overview for the overall Grünenthal project. And with this, I'm giving back the control to Alfonso, because now it comes a very interesting question, which is the outlook, what will come in, which are your projects for Grunenthal and Genie for the next year?
Thank you, Joaquín. It's a good question, and we are thinking, how can we improve? How can we use the CDP? And as I commented, in the presentation, every day we are thinking on new ways to use the CDP and to improve our current implementation that we have. I was thinking these days about what is coming. We started with multi-channel, then we moved to Omni-channel. Now I think we are moving to some kind of real-time customer experience. For me, this is the theme. In Grunenthal, we are focusing a lot on the customer experience, and I think the CDP also has a lot to do in improving this. It's like, just imagine, using all this data that we have and also adding platforms like feedback management and all the feedbacks from customers to the data that we already have, and having this facility to use drag and drop and to search and to define, as you commented, calculated insights for personas, for archetypes, for different insights that we are thinking, and we realize that we have more opportunities to build a strong data-driven strategy with CDP.
Okay, thank you very much for your questions, Alfonso. So Saman, I think that we end this part of the presentation.
Oh, fantastic! It was very exciting. So we have got only 4 or 5 minutes. We have got a few questions. So if that's okay, we just we answer those few questions with our panelists. I'm gonna kind of sift through that and select a few that we can fit in 4 questions and 4 minutes we have, and perhaps something that is more of general interest to our audience. Let me start with this one in the kind of chronological order that we presented. So the first question perhaps is best for Christian, and by all means, if anybody else wanted to comment from our panel, please do so. Christian, if the first question is, does Salesforce Genie replace any of the Salesforce Marketing Cloud modules, or it is something that's a new layer that is getting added and has to be implemented on top of the existing implementation? I think that's a question that we're getting a lot right now because of this kind of new introduction of Genie on that. If you can comment about that, that would be great.
Yeah, of the 2 options given in the question, I actually would say it's neither. It is, maybe it's more an additional layer, but Genie is a technical change in our platform to bring certain elements and functionalities closer together. And it doesn't require, it's not a product in its own right that needs to be implemented or that even needs to be bought. It's depending on the application, and CDP is one of our main applications. It will be part of our future offering. And in that respect, I don't think I can say that it requires any effort or any additional implementation or integration. It is an added functionality. It is bringing real-time magic as Genie into the platform, and additional interfaces that we have developed in addition to what we had in the past. I hope that answers the question, but please, others, panelists, help me here. But yeah, that is my view on this question.
Thank you so much. Actually, that I think resolves ambiguity on this as everybody's embarking on this new concept. Right now, thanks so much. And another question is related to the slide that Alfonso presented on the challenges he faced. And the question reads as, the set of actions that are taken or the next best actions, are those determined by marketing managers, or you're relying on the AI tools to create them for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So basically, we are using Einstein for the AI, thinking about the next best action more automatically, no? But in some cases, we are defining the rules in the journeys, no, because it's also something very ad hoc of some campaigns, no. But we can have these kind of capabilities working in another level, more over all the campaigns and more automatically for everything.
If I can add something to the response from Alfonso, at Dreamforce this year has been presented a new capability of functionality where we at ShowerThinking we are really very excited, which is they call the BYO, bring your own model to Salesforce CDP. So in terms of, let's give apart making ad hoc recommendations, let's think about the possibilities for the artificial intelligence in this kind of systems. Now with bring your own model, you have the possibility to use the basic functionalities like Einstein, engagement in scoring, and different Einstein functionalities, which is a model which is very standard for all the different customers from Salesforce. And it's a really nice feature for everyone, but you can also create your own model into a platform like Amazon SageMaker, where you can create all these artificial intelligence models and build into the platform. So I don't know exactly which are the release dates, but very soon you will have the capability to use or the Einstein, like engagement scoring or all the different functionalities from Marketing Cloud. Now is, as you saw in the presentation, we are already using these functionalities and they are live and you can use it. And now what is coming is bring your own machine learning model to the platform, which I think is really a very powerful, functionality.
Excellent. Joaquín and Alfonso, that's actually great. And it's a good segue to the other question that we have here about the data model and the scoring. So the question is that do you have or use a manual scoring system, or there is a known methodology to score your input data on that related to when you're doing the individual data model and the scoring? I think Joaquín or Alfonso, whoever feels to kind of start with a comment about this question.
Yeah, you can start. Probably Joaquín can support my answer. Well, when I think about the scoring, is we have two ways to do it, in a very high level, looking at what is happening in all the channels. The first thing when to implement this scoring that I have talked in my slide is in a way to look at the interaction. So when you are developing a journey of an HCP, there are a lot of different activities, interactions that you can score higher or lower during this process. You can send an email, but send an email, score is 0. You can open, you can click, you can download something, or you can just have a journey with an invitation to a webinar, and only you give all the points when the subscribe happens or they attend the webinar. So I think there are a lot of marketing decisions on that. And then when we brief a campaign, we brief also this scoring. This is a very detailed level for the scoring that we decide. And for me, we can have more types of scoring, but this is one that gives me really a scoring of the engagement that I have, the real engagement.
No, and also I totally agree with Alfonso, and based on our experience of different pharma customers, probably there are also some difference on the view what is an scoring and how I should score my customers. Also, for some companies, I see that there are differences depending on the brands they have in the market. So if they are providing different brands to the same number of customers, this needs to be think a little bit more. So you usually have a scoring by brand and some different functionalities, but the most common approach is that the score is based on the number of interactions made by the customer. It's not a segmentation based on the company.
Excellent. We have time for one more quick question. Let me screen through, pick one that perhaps has been repeated. Yeah, so it is about, Joaquín, maybe you're best to address this, about unification of identification and identity resolution. You talked about match rules. Are these some things that provided by Salesforce Marketing Cloud, or this is something that is defined by user?
No, they are created in Salesforce CDP. They have a very powerful engine for matching the different rules. How do you want to match? Do you want to match by area, by by an email, you have some doctor ID or physician ID. There are many different rules that you can create. If you are something not familiar with Sales Cloud, is like creating different functions. So you say if this customer have this identifier matches or this name and the location and the hospital name is the same, so you should match this customer. This kind of rules are the ones that are provided by Salesforce CDP, and we are expecting that over the time, you know, that over the new releases that Salesforce is making, they will also improve this kind of matches with a more advanced, like fuzzy logic or other ones. They probably will come in the future, but in this moment you have a number of different rules, very powerful in order to interpret if this customer in what platform, for example, in Sitecore website, is the same as in Viva or not.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody, our panelists, our audience. This was a great session with a lot of technical insight. Sorry, that's all we have time right now for the Q&A, but if there are more questions, please do free to forward it to us and we'll try to attend to it. Again, my big thanks to everyone attending the call, and looking forward to seeing everybody on our next webinar.
Okay, thank you very much, Christian and Alfonso.
Thank you very much.